What is happening, everybody? Paddy McDonald here, and today I'm joined in a wee conversation with my friend. She's going to introduce herself. Go ahead.
So I am Virginia King, and I am a hair loss and scalp expert.
And you're probably wondering, why is she here? Well, Sean's not wondering, I'm not wondering, because we both know, because I'm starting to go a wee bit thin up the top there, and I seen on Instagram Paddy Barnes and Card Frampton, two good friends of mine, and getting the treatment done, and I went, well, you know, if that's something that they're doing, I hit a like on the button, reached out to Bridgie, and she says, well, look, we can do a test, we can check you out and see if there's anything we can do for you.
Well, you're not too bad, Paddy, like, are
you? She can't fix teeth. She said something very funny when she goes, she says, I'm not lured, which means she hasn't got marigolds, but she can't help me with the hair. But how did you get into it, and like the background? Because I think most people will want to know that about you. They'll want to know the background of it and how you get into it.
Okay, so I am 30 years in the industry, and my background is hairdressing, and I've been a hairdresser for the last 30 odd years. But 10 years ago, I went into the field of trichology because there was just so much. I was getting so many clients and so many patients through the door who were suffering from hair loss, and especially for men. It was such a taboo subject. Nobody wanted to talk about it. A lot of women really shied away from it, and a lot of men also shied away from it. So I studied in the trichology. I travelled over to the UK and done a lot of this work. Took it back, and I have been doing it ever since. But after COVID, it became more and more. Lots of people was reaching out, their immune systems was breaking down, and then I found there was a lot of men not afraid to talk. So I have a clinic in the Sleeve Donner Hotel in Newcastle. I am also based in ASC in Botanic in Belfast, and this is where in Botanic in the ASC Medical Clinic, where they provide a lot of non-invasive surgeries. Mm-hmm. You know, they don't want people travelling to Turkey. They want to look after the men and the women here. Yeah. And it's more of a safer environment. And I know sometimes we can't help them and they need to go somewhere else for hair transplants. And there is a lot of amazing surgeons in the north and the south of Ireland who do provide this. But for the past while, we've been looking after a lot of our clients, both in Newcastle and in Belfast. And we've been seeing amazing results. As you said, we've looked after Paddy and Carol, and they have seen amazing results.
I mean, they were there for everybody to see, so it's one of them ones sometimes you do need to see, especially when you know somebody like Carl or you know somebody like Paddy, then you sort of go, oh right, and you can say, like I can say to them, I can pick up the phone and say, here, how'd that go for you? Yeah. And I think it's good that you don't have to travel away as well. You know, if you can help somebody here at home, I mean, that's even a better thing altogether, where I would be worried because I need my teeth done because they're really bad. My dentist, I play hide and seek with him, but it's one of them ones. I would be scared of going to Turkey to get them done because I'm going, well, if something goes wrong with them, you can't just pick up the phone. You can't. Yeah, do you get what I mean?
Yeah, because it's not, you know, you can't look after your patient, especially with hair transplants. It's very, you know, it's very like it's very like intense. It would be quite nervous for men travelling away because there's a lot of surgery goes on there. Yes. And, you know, you could have like contraindications, you could have after effects or side effects from the surgery. So therefore, you know, you don't have somebody to look after. You have to get on a plane and you have to travel back again if you need this looked after or if anything goes wrong. Where here, you know, we can look after you. And this is quite amazing treatment that they do in ASC. It's medical led with Nurse Anne. She's a fabulous nurse and she looks after all her patients like with such dignity and compassion, because it's quite soul destroying to lose your hair, you know, and you sort of lose your confidence a bit, and it becomes very inferior when you're looking in the mirror every morning and you find your hair thinning, even for a man or a woman. Like women especially, it's your crown and glory. So when you are getting up in the morning and you're looking at this, and sometimes you don't really pass much remarks of it until it gets to a stage where I find a lot of the men, they say, oh, my wife said this and my wife's asking me, she's seen you, can you help me out? And a lot of guys getting married. You know, as you just touched on it there a while ago before we started about photographs, you know, they always look at the photographs and they're seeing this thinning of hair, seeing maybe, you know, genetic, you know, male pattern baldness, and it can be quite a confidence, you know.
Oh, it can.
It can come down.
And I think men now do take care of themselves a lot more You know, women always did. Women always had to have that routine that they done their creams and stuff. But men do look after themselves a wee bit better
Yeah, I
now.
think men's more vain now than,
Than they ever were.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. I suppose it's not a bad thing for women because they have to look at them. But I mean, it's not a bad thing too. But there is a lot of men that do that, and I would joke and say the things. But especially with my son, who's 19, like his hair is his crown,
it's
like
his thing,
and all his friends are the exact same, and they go to the same barber, and it has to sit a certain way, and I get that, you know. I've always had sort of pride in my hair and stuff like that, so it's one of them ones. I was in Australia last year doing a gig, and we filmed everywhere we went to Sydney. The rain was on, we stayed in the car, and we done this video, and one of the comments, and it's the first time that I really went, whoa, something's wrong, and a guy says, your hair's like smoke. So I must have blow dried the hair, but it was like really thin. And I was like, oh, right. So that was when I started looking at things and going, right, what do I need to do? There was a painter working in my house. He was going to Turkey, and he was like, I don't think you need to go to Turkey. Like, you're not as bald as me. And then he told me the whole process of it, and I was like, oh, I wouldn't fancy going to Turkey. So when this sort of came about with you, I was like, this is the kind of thing that would suit me. Give it a go, see if they can help me.
Yeah.
You know, because it is a good first step. Like, you know.
Yeah, well, it's like, you know, it's like prevention.
Yeah.
Before, you know, this, you know, maybe it gets thinner and thinner. It's like an age thing where women goes through the menopause and the drop in the hormone, you know, the estrogen, and the level comes down. It's the same with men.
Yeah.
You know, the testosterone level comes down, the DHT blocker. You know, you need to be. This is something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it does, where it happens with women, it also happens with men. But because it's not really talked about as such a taboo subject, you're sort of left to suffer in silence.
Yeah.
And I have found that I have dealt with so many men and women, and like they're at a stage where it's really getting to them, and they get into that, like nearly taking depression over this hair loss. It is massive. And like it needs to be addressed, and there is so much help out there. So it's just letting people reach out. You know, if we can help you, we can help you. If we can help bring you on a hair loss journey, we will. If we can't, we will send you somewhere here in Ireland that can help you.
So it's the first steps.
Is all of the first stops?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if it can't even be a treatment that they can get, they're definitely going to get help in a sense of advice and where to go.
And it's even having that consultation, or even coming in to talk to the likes of myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's taking that first step. A lot of men and women come in and they just open up to you. You know, they've been holding this trauma for so long, and it could be something that's going on, because hair loss is very internal. It could be like, you know, a death in the family, a house move, a divorce. It's very internal.
Yeah.
So it's having that conversation and speaking out, you know, instead of holding all that, you know, hurt in where they are really suffering. So it's really having that conversation. And sometimes when they have that conversation, you can see the change in people. You know, they know that they have getting help.
They're straight away getting it off their chest.
Yeah.
Which is like we do the podcast. It's been heavily discussed on the podcast. We do a lot about mental health. We get messages weekly from people just like, well, listen to the podcast. It's really helped me. I'm going through this and stuff like that. And I've went through mental health, so I know what it's like. You know, so it's really, really tough. So when you provide a treatment, I remember one time driving down the Lisburn Road, and I seen like a wig shop facing where the cancer centre was, and sort of went, is that perfect position to try and make money of people? And then I thought about it, and I went, no, it's providing
a service
that's needed.
Yeah.
So I sort of went to myself, I caught myself on a wee bit. I went, that's the first step. They'll be coming out there. People's going to see them coming out after getting their treatment or their wig shop. So obviously it's to help their mental health. Do you know what I mean?
Of course it is. Yes,
so
providing that amazing service.
Yeah.
You know, especially for women losing your hair, and if it's true treatment, you know, you want to look yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're being so sexy, you don't want to be unidentifiable, and to have this service at your front door and at your front step is amazing.
It's a massive thing. It's a massive thing, and it's really good. And I mean, you're in terms of what you're talking about, you're in Slieve Donard and you're in Belfast, and you know, so there's obviously a amount of people here that need this done or want this done, and they come to you and you're getting it done for them. You know what I mean? And do you feel good about yourself?
Yeah, I do. I think it's very rewarding. I find this work very, very rewarding, because when somebody comes in and they sit on your chair and you are looking after them, and this client or patient or whatever the case may be, you know, has come opened up to you, and sometimes they come in with no hair, you know, if it's a wig case, and then you're bespoken. I bespoke a lot of wigs, and it's not all wigs, you know, I bespoke like tea partings if they're just thinning at the top as well. And to see somebody getting that smile on their face and giving them that confidence back, and they are at your mercy, like, you know, they are really crying out for help, and when you give them nearly their life back again, there's no price to be put on that, Paddy. Like,
No,
it's so
100%.
rewarding. Do you know, it's so rewarding. And even looking after these young lads now, and looking after these guys that's getting married, and you're seeing results all the time for them.
Yeah.
And they're sending you messages saying, you know, you've changed my life, and like you couldn't put a price on that. It's very rewarding
100%.
work.
Especially they're panicking about like the photographs and social media now and everything.
Massive,
Everything is photographs, everything's out there, and also seeing other people. And there's a lot of pressure on people now because they go, oh, look at him, look at that. You know what I mean? So the people do put pressure on themselves as well. I done a boxing match last year, and the guy I fought, I'm not going to mention his name or nothing, you know the correct rest. But he done the interview, the pre-fight interview, and they asked him what age he was because everybody thought he was older than me, and I'm 45. And when he says he was 37, the whole room went, and he was like, oh, I had a hard paper round. But we had the fight, and 2 weeks later he had her. So I don't know, he got a wig, right?
Okay.
But he does look brilliant. Like it has took years off him, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was obviously the pressure of all the comments and what everybody said in that room.
Yeah.
That then he got really conscious about it. And then he went and done it. And he does look
hair
brilliant.
replacement, yeah, these. So it's like, you know, when you're, especially for men, when they don't have any hair, and or maybe they've hair around the sides, and maybe there's that wee bit of thinning, and there's a lot of hair replacements you can do. Like there's a lot of these glue-on, you know, pieces and non-invasive pieces that you can bespoke. But then when you see them with a full head of hair, it takes 10 years of them, you know. And even like for the likes of yourself, is going to look, you know, you're going to get this treatment, and you'll see your hair getting fuller, you know, and it does tend to come back, and it just you know, you've got that fullness back in your hair again. So it does, you know, it does give you that youthful look again.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Because when I go into the barber, he's like, how much off the top? And I'm like, absolutely none. And he's like, I have to cut the dead ends. And I'm like, I'm about 2 cuts away from here from never having her again. Yeah. And see, if I have a shave, my kids cry. It's like a thing for covering what's underneath. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. My kids freak out when they see me with no beard because they're just like, what's this? Who is he? Do you know? So, and I get told not to shave my beard off. Yeah. So I wonder what it'd be like without the hair, and I don't think it'd be good. Like, but it's absolutely brilliant, the treatment that you do, and that you've sort of just come in that. Like, I mean, people will ask like where you come from and what you done and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm originally from South Armagh, so I'm from Crossmaglen.
We'll not hold it against you.
No, that's all right. Don't. So my husband is from Castlewellan, but my sister was always in the hair industry, so I very much got into the hair industry way back then. Then got married, moved to Castlewellan, opened up a salon in Castlewellan. And then I had a patient, actually, she was quite a young girl, and she was her late 20s, and she came and she was a client, and I was looking after her for a very long time, and she said to me, I've got breast cancer and I need a wig. And I had no idea. I said to her, I don't, the trust does provide wigs. They're not great service, you know, they weren't like bespoking them or cutting them. They do get them in for you, and that's it. They're given to you and you go wherever with this piece. So she'd come to me, but I had no idea how to cut it. So it was like being a dressmaker, you know, like if you have a pattern there and you're cutting out a dress or whatever, you know, if you cut that wrong, you know, you can't really go back. It's the same with a wig. It's not real hair. You know, it's not going to grow back. It's on a piece of material. And I was like, I had no idea where to go. There was very little services available in the north and south of Ireland. There was very little services available. And I had like really sourced this out for her because she was such a pretty girl. She was very conscious. She had 2 young children. She knew she was losing her hair and she didn't want to waking up in the morning with no hair. So I actually went to Brighton, and that's where I done all my training. I was there for like nearly 3 years doing a lot of the training on bespoken wigs, knowing, you know, colours and how to cut these wigs, because they're very hard to cut. Yeah. And that's when I got really into it. And then it just really snowballed for me. Like lots of people was coming with me to get their wigs cut, you know, bespoken them. And then I really got into the trichology end of it. And just this year, I just went back to back into, you know, the medical end of it, back to UCD, just to get trained again on scalp and the skin. Also lobbying here now in Northern Ireland just to get this grant in for people who needs these services. Like, it's not all about cancer.
No,
you know, there's a lot
mean,
of young girls suffer with alopecia and thinning hair, men and women. So it's providing these services, maybe for a young fella that can't afford these services, you know, and really suffering in silence. Like a lot of it is addressed to mental health when this happens. So hopefully this grant will come into play and be fit to provide these amazing services that's available everywhere else, but not available here to ever who needs it. So I'm very into this work, love this work, and it's just giving something back, isn't it?
It sounds like my granny used to say to me, whatever's for you won't pass you. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And in my own situation where I was a joiner and taxi driver, doorman, I done all these jobs over the years, and then eventually it took like a major incident that happened to me to then change my direction, to go into mental health, then to do comedy, to come out of mental health. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it's not my career, you know, so I was always meant to do this, so it was...
It's like a full circle.
It sounds like that with you, where you were meant to do that. You were meant to have that girl as a client. Then that happened to her, and then you went on to train in it, and now you specialise in it because you see there was nobody here doing that.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about this work.
Do you enjoy it?
I do. I love it. You meet so many people. You meet, like, from anything from 18, you know, to like that, you know, that male guy who's suffering, that lady who's suffering, you know, and like, it's so inspiring. Like, sometimes it can be, you get so much of it and you get so overwhelmed with it that you nearly have to switch off from it at times. But now, because there's only one of me, so the past couple of years I've been educating. I done a whole UK tour last year, myself and a girl from Kildare, Aileen Maher, and we done a whole UK tour, just giving all this knowledge to other hair salons to provide this service in their salon. Like, a lot of my friends would not touch this work. They, you know, they're nearly too scared to touch it. They're like, I wouldn't know how I deal with it. You know, somebody who's like losing their hair through cancer or whatever, they were like, I couldn't touch this what we're doing. I couldn't have that consultation. You need to be a bit strong for it too. You need to be a wee bit resilient for it too, because you're very emotionally connected to this person. When you have somebody in your chair, and maybe they, like, I've had like clients who had come to me and they knew they were going, you know, their family knew they were going to pass away. This happened a lot quite recently, and maybe they'd only like 3 months to live. I had a lady there and she had like only 12 weeks to live, and the family knew that, so they were getting her ready. She completely lost all her hair, and they were getting her ready, you know, to have a wig in the coffin. And sometimes I get a lot of calls for that, like, and they would say, you know, she passed away, do you have anything that we could provide in the coffin? Can you come and, you know, dress her hair in the coffin? Like, you need to be very strong for that.
Oh, listen,
you know,
unbelievable. Like, that wasn't even an angle that I was thinking of, and now you've told me about it. I'm just like, wow. Like,
and that happens quite a lot. You know, I do get a lot of this because they know I maybe have something there that I could provide for them, because they want their loved ones looking like, you know, they don't want anybody to come in and say this. And so I have to get myself geared up for that. You know, it takes me a wee while to get myself geared up for that. And then when you come away from it, you know, you're helping these people. Like, it's all about, you know, giving back. Isn't it? Like, we live in a crazy world nowadays.
No, 100%.
Like, it's crazy. So if you can do something kind and good, and you're looking after 100%. Somebody, sure, you're bound to get this back in good ways, aren't you?
And you will feel good about yourself. But in saying that, like, how do you go home and you have to make a dinner or bring a child till a training, and you have that in your mind? You know, that's a part of it I wasn't even thinking of. And now you've said it, I'm sort of like, yeah, no, not everybody can do this.
Yeah, it's very, like, you do come home and you just have to park it. Yeah. You know, you do have to park it, because sometimes I would be going to bed at night and I'm into the rosary for, do you know, like, I'm thinking, God, I want to,
I get you,
you know,
because you're thinking about the people,
because you're thinking about these people. But you do have to sort of switch off. It does take you a wee while to come around from it, because you do be like, you're not made of stone either.
No, of course you're not. But at the same sense, as long as you do your job and you've put a smile on face or made somebody feel better, I mean, that should be enough. But even when that finishes, sometimes you maybe don't forget about that. Maybe
you
it's
do.
in your
You
head.
do be thinking. You know, you go. I do try to like. I sometimes think, oh God, there's such that energy, and you do think about it. I'm one of those people that I'm always thinking about. God, wonder how she is now. I wonder how it is.
And not only that one you were saying about that girl and the family were preparing her for the coffin, or say somebody's preparing you for that. It's all of the family you're thinking of there, because you're providing a service not just for the girl in the coffin. It's actually for a family there.
Yeah, and they do reach out to you because they are like, sometimes people do be nearly afraid to go to you, but they're like, we know you're the only one that can, can help us.
Well, obviously your results speak for themselves.
Yeah, you do. You have to be passionate about this work, and you have to want to do it. You wouldn't be getting into it because it's far too hard of work.
Get you. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Isn't that what they always say?
Yeah, it's far too hard of work to be doing.
Yes.
If you're not passionate about it and not wanting to provide that really good service. It's a real service that you're providing here. You're nearly like a counsellor most of the time, and you are very medically trained to be doing this work. You're not just a hairdresser doing, extensions or putting on pieces on people. Like, that's not what it's about with me. It's just all about bringing the confidence back into somebody and providing a service for men and women that they can, come out of themselves again and get that bit of confidence again. A lot of people don't even want to leave the house when they lost their hair.
No, you're right.
So it's really giving them that confidence to bring them back.
Yeah. And where do you see it in the next year or years to come? Or
oh God, I don't know.
Because I heard you on the radio and you were campaigning for that for people, which is fantastic, because you're like trying to help people. You're standing up for people that don't have a voice, because you come from that expertise. You can stand up and go, well, listen, I'm from this background and this is available, and I know it's available here, here, and here, but we're not getting it here. So you were standing up for people there as well.
Yeah, because I've worked. I'm very much based in Edinburgh with a lot of my work. And when I was over there last year we done a documentary. BBC had contacted me and said, "Can we do a documentary?" And you're doing us all this education in Scotland. You're helping all these hairdressers bring this work into their salon. You're showing them where they can get the funding. So much funding available in the UK, and like these, I said to a lot of my team, like I was like, this can be provided all across. So I done it in Scotland. It's a big documentary done on it, and then BBC contacted me last year, and we done one of it. We done the copycat the same sort of scenario, and there was a little young girl come on and talked about how she really is like up against it here, getting a piece. She was only a young 21-year-old girl, and she found it very hard to get a piece. Beautiful girl, long blonde hair, but she just hadn't got the funding. Some people just can't afford it, and that's just the way it is. And she said, how her mom and dad saved to get her pieces. Like, everything's at a cost nowadays.
Of course.
So this has gone on like nearly 3 years, with the health minister here, like, because the government has broke down and back up and broke down. So it was like, why can we not get this scheme here when you can get it in, the south, but you can get it a couple of miles up the road, but you can't get it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
No,
so I'm hoping to get that across the line, and then do a lot more education and get a lot of, strong hairdressers on board here, do the education and provide these services to their clients.
Brilliant. Sounds like it's going to be an academy.
Well,
an academy for just you.
Yeah,
bringing people in and getting them in.
So it's a service that's needed, and a service that needs to be talked about too. So many, like, especially men, is something that I found with, like, young lads, and it could be genetic hair loss. Their dad's bald. There's very little you can do there, but it's just helping them, on their hair loss journey and letting them speak out, and like reaching out to the likes of somebody like myself, to see where you can help them here. Because a lot of the time, a lot of men and women do go to their GPs, and the thing is here, GPs don't really know nothing about hair loss and scalp, because I'm always saying, get your bloods taken. It's so hard to get in with a doctor nowadays. And then they would come back and say, Virginia, I got my bloods taken, but everything's okay. Or I could be looking for a different level. Like, doctors are looking for something sinister, like infection or cancer. They're not looking for your hair falling out.
No.
There's nothing really they can do. They maybe might prescribe finasteride or minoxidil, something quite topical. but they don't really know about hair and scalp. And I have spoke to a lot of doctors, and they have said to me, you know, we do maybe give them something medical, you
Yes.
know, but we don't really know about hair and scalp. We don't know how to cut
Well, I haven't
hair.
been
We
trained
don't-
the same way as you.
It's the same, you know,
You know-
and they would say that. They would say, like, I have a friend's a GP, and she'd say, but you know, it wasn't in my work. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't need to know about how hair grows.
Yeah.
You know, so so it's actually getting a lot of the doctors to know that this clinic is also available as well.
Do it. And say somebody wants to reach out. I mean, is it a case of a phone call? Or...
Yeah, it's a case of a phone call. I do have a website, Brittany King
Yes.
Hairdressing. I'm on Instagram as well, and I'm based in Belfast, and I'm also based in the Sleeve Donard Hotel in Newcastle as well.
Right. So say typical fella like me, right? Sends you a message on Instagram. And then what's the process for him?
So the process is we get a private consultation. So everything's very private and confidential. So yes, I can set up a consultation with you. You come and visit myself. We would do a scalp scan. It's something I'm going to do in you as well. So I can tell whether the hair is growing, if the follicle is fit for this treatment or not. If it is, great, we'll get you set up on a hair loss plan. Sometimes it just takes products as well. And then if it's a case that you know that you were really thinking, you know, going down the road of a hair transplant, I have two amazing surgeons that we recommend, one here in Belfast and one also in Dublin that we can refer you to.
Brilliant. So it's an easy case. Like it's
just
a
reaching out. It's
simple-
just making the call.
It is. It's in initial stages. So, and it's easy to do. As you say, you're on Instagram, you've got a website, there's a telephone number, you just make an appointment and you go.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a hard thing to do for people.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. It's really interesting too, what you're talking about, because recently I've had a thing with like a gout, and it's a thing I go to the doctors and I'm like, why can I not get this sorted? And it was a fella reached out to me and he was like, listen, I was a skin specialist, but this is what I think you have. Why don't you come out? And he done a test on me, and turned out that I had, like, my omega-3s was down because I told you not to eat fish.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, but your body needs this to fight inflammatory things. And he's not a doctor, he's a skin specialist, and he just knew, looking at me, I've been 4 weeks now, pain-free, just from him showing me what to do. So sometimes people do rely on a doctor, and as we said, they don't really have the training in that specific thing.
It's like,
you've went into it, I know, just talking to you, you've sort of brought it right down for me to understand in the conversation.
yeah, so it's like you're an expert in this work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like me, myself, I just through myself medically trained myself in this work and have done for the last 10 years. So you know your field of work.
Yes.
You know,
No, I
and,
get you.
and you know where you're coming, you know how to look after these patients
Yeah.
and clients. It's like that guy that you reached out to, you know, he's probably an expert in this work, where your own GP maybe was going around the houses here,
Yeah.
you know, to try to get
they
you
were
sorted.
just here, this is the tablets you take for it, and it wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
But they weren't hitting on the right thing. But this fella just, and he got into it because he suffered from it, and he was just like, this is how I get into it. And then, like you, sounds very similar, where he went down a rabbit hole with his own work,
Yeah.
and then decided to go on and do it the way he's doing it, you know, and it's just
very good,
fantastic.
good.
And it's just glad that they have these things now in this country, you know, where people before would have just been like,
Crying out for help.
you're
People's
going
crying
bald,
out
that's it. Get over
Yeah.
it. And that's the old attitude in this country.
Yeah.
Get over it.
It's like once it starts going, get it all shaved off.
That's it.
Yeah.
Why are you hanging on to that for? It's a typical sort of.
I think is it like I think it's like an Irish thing. You know, I know growing up, like there was 4 of us in our house, was 3 girls, but like you darn said anything was to stop flying in the face and go, why are you putting that makeup?
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't have said, you would never have got like, God, you're looking well, you know, mother, what do you think of that dress?
Who do you think you are?
Yeah,
sort of thing,
you know, she would have been like very much, you know, would have been very, you never got any praise. You were never told, God, you look great today, you're looking well. You darn said that, and it's a bit like that now. You know, I know a lot of men who's come to me and said, oh, my mum said, shave that off. You know, you don't need to be reaching, because I had a guy and he was like, you know, but I reached out to you, and I told my mum, and she was like, go away and cop yourself home. What are you looking here for? Your father's bald all his life, shave that off, you know. But and he was okay, like he got the treatment, and his hair has been amazing.
Is that right?
Yeah, honestly, his hair's amazing.
Does he go to his mum and go, no, 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 no?
I know, like his hair is amazing, but I think you're afraid to say this because people think it's a vanity thing, you know. Look at him.
No, I get you.
You know, but now there is all these services services out there that you can go to. So many private clinics has opened up for everything, for skin.
Yeah.
Like somebody like myself, Trichology. There's such a waiting list now for dermatology. It's 3 years to get in with a dermatologist on the NHS.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant to have these
people,
services.
yes, no,
there's
like yourselves,
help.
it's fantastic. And as I say, once I seen Paddy and Carl doing it, it was sort of like a wee interest in my head. I was like, because I hadn't said to nobody. Like, I don't think we talked about it at the podcast. Normally I talk about things and I would say, oh, will you hear this comment that I got? And I never said anything. But then when I seen Paddy and thinking and I liked it and then reached out to them and I was like, how'd that go? Well, Paddy, you can't understand when he talks. Did you understand them?
Yeah, I did understand Paddy, looked after Paddy. And his results has been amazing. Like sometimes we say, oh, does that really work? Do you know? But his results has been amazing. It was a bit strange for Paddy, who doesn't mind me saying this, but he was getting the treatment. Norshan, she does all the injectables. But there's a video of me and him, because I was scanning and no one, I was showing them where to put the treatment into the scalp. But he was a wee bit like, oh, was that going to be sore? Is that going to be sore? And I was like, Paddy, for frig's sake, you've been fighting all your life and boxing all your life. Stop going on like a wimp in the chair because you're getting an injection.
Did you watch him boxing?
Well,
you got an old dig even down right in Kirksword, did? I wouldn't say he'd be as... Now, Card's a different thing.
Card was good. He was 100%.
Ah, yes.
He took it like a man. Yeah, no, there was no bother there. But the boys was like, oh, how does this work? But Anne's an amazing nurse there that does all the injectables, and it was grand. But their results has been phenomenal. Like Paddy's results has been phenomenal. He was quite thinning at the crown, and I think he got 6 courses of the treatment, and his was amazing. Carol was receiving, there at the front, and the injectables into that as well, and his results has been phenomenal.
He has full on dreadlocks now.
So, well, he's not
I
yet.
seen him at UB40.
Yeah,
I'm only joking. No, but and they're two good lads to have on because they're very, very
they're very
working
real.
class, and
Do you know what I mean? They're real, like they're not going to portray something that they're not. And I think this is the thing. A lot of this social media, and I'm not that big into it. But it's all about the real person here. It's like the ordinary 5'8" person that that is going to be very honest and open about their treatment. Instead of just like people is wanting to listen here. People's wanting to know, does this work? These young lads is wanting to know, does this work? Because they want to see the results, and these two lads are an amazing advocates for this.
To show it. And listen, you're saying there you don't want to do social media. You need to do it.
Very bad at it, Paddy.
But see, even if you don't want to do it, in terms of what you are doing, get somebody else to document it. You need to get this out here, and people need to hear your story, because not just a case of like doing this treatment, and it's not just a treatment; it's a complete service, and you're helping people here. Like you're as important are the things you were talking about. A girl lost in her hair, or a coffin that needed a person to look the way they wanted them to look, and that is a complete service.
It's a completely different thing.
You don't know what comfort that can bring to a family or a person, and I think that's the end.
Take your advice.
I genuinely think that's a part of it that you need to embrace. It's something that I never thought about whenever I was doing comedy, that people will embrace me because I've said a joke or done something to make them laugh, and they maybe haven't laughed in 6 weeks.
Yeah, sometimes you say something, people just hang on to that.
Yeah.
That little word, a bit like yourself for comedy, because sometimes I would have, say, but you took that straight home at me. It's just that one, sentence
people looking in,
saying.
but even looking in the mirror, and then if you see them and they have a smile on their face, you don't know what you've done to put that smile on somebody's face.
Yeah, it's priceless.
Do you know what I mean?
There's no price on it.
100%.
Yeah, there's no
and I
price
think that's a part of your social media that maybe you need to get out more. And not saying people's personal stories, but you tell your journey.
Yeah.
Just what you're doing, because I think that's a massive part for people, and a massive part. People, we live in a society now, it's 30 seconds. You have to catch them in 30 seconds on the social media, and people are learning everything. And I know that people a couple of years ago, like, if something's wrong with them, have a sore head, they Google it. Oh, Jesus, I'm down. People want to know more. So we are in an information technology age where people will Google you and who is she, who's her husband, who's her kids, what does she do, does it work? These are the things that they're going to ask.
Yeah.
So I think the more testimonies you do and the more social media you do, I think it'll highlight it more.
Yeah, and if you help that one person, or somebody comes away with something for you,
You know,
It's there, isn't it?
that's it. It's just, and keep doing what you're doing. I just think it's
Thank you.
fantastic. And what a service you're doing. And I'm really looking forward to it now. It's going to be a process. I'll go in and get scanned.
You'll have 2 plats this time next year.
2 flats. And I'm really looking forward to it now. I'm not worried about it because there does be that wee bit of worry in
Yeah,
your
that's
head.
what we've been. Where people doesn't know, what you do, but the ASC is an amazing clinic in Botanic, and Anne is like the most amazing nurse. Her work, like she just knows how to look after the patient.
Aunt just sounds like,
Honestly, she's like
you know what she sounds? She sounds like somebody you want to look after you when you're sick.
yeah,
You know, you've been
100%.
talking
Wait
about it.
wait
Nurse
till you
Anne, I
meet
can't
her.
wait to meet Nurse Anne.
Yeah, she's amazing. So when you come in and then you go through the process, like what it involves is your plasma. So we take your blood and filters that into plasma, and that's your first injectables into your head. And then we leave it 2 weeks, and then we do a combination of 2 treatments, which really helps boost the follicle. And the second treatment then that you would be getting is polynucleotides. So this is a salmon sperm extract.
Right.
So when you say this, they're a bit like, what am I getting?
People start figuring out, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm going to be pregnant after this.
Going to have loads of wee fish?
So this is so this combination works really well, and it's 6 treatments. So it's every 2 weeks, and after the 6 week. But after 3 of your treatments, you will really notice, such an improvement in your hair. Like so many men after the 3rd treatment, the hair has all really regenerated itself.
Shampoo advertisements at the end of it, Sean. It's going to be me coming out, Donny turning out, shaking the head. Soul Glow. Yeah, doing it. And does it hurt? Does it hurt? Because people's going to ask.
Well, it's like it's injectables into your scalp, so it doesn't really hurt. It's only it's like a very small injection. The treatment's over in 30 minutes.
I have tattoos, so obviously
you'll be grand.
Yes,
you'll be grand.
Because some people do freak out about injections and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
no, it's just it's maybe like a little scratch, but the whole treatment's over in 30 minutes.
Listen, it couldn't be any worse. I got my hair cut one time in Turkey, and I says it was like getting your hair cut by the Hulk. I've never had anything like it in my life. Scissors were blunt.
Yeah.
Like practically punching me. So it couldn't be any worse than that.
No, you'll be grand. So we'll get you on this journey, and then we'll keep everybody updated.
I'm excited about it. So we'll be able to. People will notice because my weight goes up and down. So people will notice the difference, and they'll make comments about it, and they'll see wee slight differences in it and mention it and go, "Oh, look at that," and whatever.
Yeah.
So it'll be good to see. Yeah, no, 100%. But thank you for coming and talking.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Is there anything else you need to get out?
No, I think we've covered everything.
I bet why don't you plug your own show in the SSC by the time October comes?
Oh, you go, yes. October 17th, I'm in the SSC.
Deadline, so this is a 6-week process. So take a good look at me now, because when I'm on stage at the SSC Arena on the 18th of October, see, you need to plug your own gig.
So it's going to say Goats Out. It's going to be her out.
Goats out.
Goats out. Goats out. Hers in. Yeah, definitely. And then we'll be able to talk about it. So
yeah, do you want to do that? Do a wee thing where you're like,
So when can I start the process?
Yeah, say something like, keep an eye on this. Watch this space, folks, because by the time I'm in the SSE on October 17th, I'm gonna have a full head of hair.
Yeah.
So you do something like that, and then also I was thinking in terms of social media stuff, you could do what's the biggest misconceptions about
and what's the price?
Yeah.
Oh, what is the price? So I think he's maybe going to give you a code.
Mm-hmm.
No, Paddy's getting a few treatments free, isn't he?
Paddy's getting, I think, the treatment.
The whole treatment, right?
Right, okay.
But I think he's going to give him a code, so we'll have to find that out.
Oh, a promo code?
Yes, and other people.
Leave that one out.
Leave that one out.
Right, okay. So, then just do Regina, I'm really excited about it. When can I start?
Yeah. Okay.
And then he's plugging his own show in the back of it.
Yep.
Right.
Bridget, after the conversation, I'm really excited. So you've convinced me now. All my fears, everything that I've been worried about, when can I get this done?
So we will probably get you booked in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, mum.
And it'll be a 12-week programme.
12 weeks.
Yeah, and then we'll see the results by the end of that,
12
Paddy.
weeks, so we're on now. So come October when I do the SSE, which is the 17th of October, go out.
I can join and do your hair for you.
You can do it for her, yes. We're going to know the results. And
Yeah,
people,
you'll see the results.
but we're going to see a gradual one here. So by the time I'm doing the SSE, we'll be able to say what way it happened or if it worked and anything like that. So we'll keep everybody informed, and hopefully along the way, I'm getting the treatment done. We can let people know if people want to contact me and ask me about it. There's no issue whatsoever, and I can let you know about what the process is, the cost of it, and maybe you can even throw me a wee discount code or something. Maybe
Definitely, yeah.
People can jump on the bandwagon.
100%.
So you can join in with the Dagger on his process, and you can join one yourself, and maybe have a whole squad of us at one stage, and we'll go out in the town with our new hairs. The hair loss groups, because people have walking groups, right? I'll have a hair loss group or hair gain group, we should call it, and we'll get the process out. But thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Bridget, it's been absolutely brilliant to have a talk with you today. I've never spoke to anybody about her, so this is really exciting. And we'll see what happens at the end of my process. Thank you very much. See you
very well. Okay.